rainbows filled the sky. They also heard something that sounded like music, but they couldn't make out the words in the area that this man was passing. A lama, after his passing, his immediate passing, a lama told Khenpo's disciples to cover his body with a yellow cloth and not to touch it. The disciples could see through the cloth, and they saw that his body was shrinking. But there was no sign of any decomposition, no insects, no smell, and the weather was warm outside. On the 8th day, they looked in the box that they had stored his body, and there was no body at all. His body had completely vanished. All they found was his clothing, actually the cloth, and there were no marks on his clothing at all. And they found something else. This was all that remained of his body. And it's one of the reasons they call it the rainbow body. One of the things that happened to the Buddha when he passed is that they had difficulty cremating his body. And they say that many of the relics that were left as a result of Buddha transforming. This man, Khenpo, said that he had distilled his body down to the direct essence of what his body was made of, as a direct result of the practice that he had talked about. Well, when you look into this phenomena, which was somewhat fascinating to me, you find that he's not alone, that this is something that happens fairly frequently. This is an area of Tibet called the Sacred Dzogchen Natural Mountain Caves area. And this is about 7,000 meters up, which is over 20,000 feet, pretty high up in the area. And this is an area where many of the world's practitioners, or the most enlightened practitioners, go to achieve enlightenment, but not only to look for enlightenment. They also go to particular caves, this one particularly. And in this particular cave, in the Right Canyon area, there have been many yogis in the Dzogchen tradition who transform their bodies directly from this cave into light or into energy. This is called the solitary retreat practice, and they say that it is the fastest way to achieve enlightenment in one single lifetime. It costs $25 a month to maintain this cave, and in 1959 the Tibetan government went to great lengths to destroy most of these, which I thought was a shame. Now, this lineage is something that has been going on for quite some time. This has been going on for a number of years. The Holy Dzogchen area is a natural sacred land, and there have been many supernatural beings who still appear here on a regular basis. It's a place of great pilgrimage in the Far East. And many of the practitioners who go here experience the Buddha, they experience a number of bodhisattvas, they still experience a number of beings who have enlightened and moved on to this spiritual world dimension. And they call it a place of miracles. They say that this particular area, which is between the Siltram Snow Mountains and the Rudam Canyon, is a place where many miracles still occur every day. So it's a place of great pilgrimage that most Americans don't know about. So in modern times, there have actually been a number of other people who have done this transformation that is not well written about in our country. Another person went to the Holy Dzogchen area and met Vimalamatra, who was one of the masters who had died, well actually who had transformed himself into a body of light hundreds of years before. He meditated after receiving this special energy from this being Vimalamatra. And in 1958, he was taken to prison by the Chinese army. As he was being taken to prison, and this is a very famous case, he began to fly into the air and disappeared in front of everybody's view. And he transformed into light in front of the Chinese army. In another very similar case, this is another man, Sonam Namgyal, who is probably one of the most famous cases, was also practicing the Dzogchen tradition and attained the rainbow body in front of thousands of people, just in front of people who were watching him do this. He did it in particular in public. And to date, more than 100,000 people have transformed themselves using this technique and this tradition into what we call a rainbow body. These people in this tradition have changed themselves